Hi, you'd asked a question about the quick quiz questions. And basically, these are kind of understanding how to do the percent change formula. So you might want to revisit the percent change formula, but I'm going to work it out for you, the two questions that you sent me. So let me go ahead and share up the screen. I just threw it in PowerPoint because I thought it'd be pretty easy to do it that way. Okay, so here is the first question, question number one. And in question number one, we have the consumer price index was 80 in 2018, or I'm sorry, 2014, 100, and 2015, 140, and 2016. Okay, so basically what you're going to do is use those numbers as a proxy for the price. So what we're going to essentially say is that a dollar's value in 2014, I'm sorry, that's incorrect. If you go to the dollar store in 2014, it really only cost you 80 cents. So in that respect, prices were 20% or 20 cents or 20% lower, okay, than the base year that was used. We know the base year is 2015 because it's 100, okay? So in 2015, you go to the dollar store and everything costs you $1. So basically there's no, prices didn't rise or fall in 2015 because that's our base year, okay? That 100 is what tells me that. And then in 2016, we have that you go down the dollar store with $1 and it's actually costing you $1.40. So prices have increased 40 cents or 40%. Okay, so interpreting that became kind of the really important part to this problem. So in 2014, we have deflation. We have nothing going on in 2015, and then we have inflation. General rise in the price level. Okay, so the first answer says, okay, my little thing's on it, so I can't really see it, but I printed it out. It says, if the basket is used to calculate the CPI cost 40 in 2014, then it costs 60 bucks in 2015. Okay, so what we want to do with this one is we need to see if the percentage increase from 40 to 60 actually equals one of, and I think they gave us what, 2015, 2016? I can't see my own stuff here. 14 to 15. So from 14 to 15, okay, we should see a 20% increase, if that is correct, right? So if we were down 20, then we went to 0. So it has to be a positive 20% that we see in the rise in prices based upon this. So I'm going to go ahead and calculate that out and see if that works. So I'm going to go ahead and take 60 minus 40, right? Because those are the prices they gave me. The baskets cost 60. So the most recent minus the previous divided by the previous, which is going to be 40. And I'm going to multiply that by 100. And when I do that, it gives me a 50% increase, not a 20% increase. So that's definitely not the right answer. Okay, so we're going to get rid of that one right away. The second one, if the basket of goods that is used to calculate the CPI cost $25 in 2015, then that basket cost $35 in 2016. So, okay, so now we're going to look at 15 and 16, and we need to see 40% increase. So we're going for the second answer, we're going to try that. So our most recent is 2016 minus our previous divided by our previous times 100 and express it as a percentage because that's just the percent change formula. And so that ends up equaling positive 40%. That's a match, right? Because we know that this increased 40%. So there's our match. So this is the correct answer. And I want to show you why the third one is incorrect as well. The overall level of prices increased by 60% between 2014 and 2016. Okay, now if you just thought of trying to use basis points here, you get the incorrect answer. You'd think that was correct, but it's not. So let's see. Okay, so again, we're going to take a look at what was our. Let's see, I'm looking at my notes. There we go. So let's look at it. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at it. Prices increased 60%. So we're going to take 80. That's our first year. So that is our 2014 year. Because these are the CPIs, right, that I was given. And in 2016, it was 140. So I'm going to take 140 minus 80 divided by 80 times 100, express it as a percentage. And 2 fourths, 25%. Is that right? I did it once here. So let me see. 140 minus 80 is 60 divided by 80. 6 eighths or 3 fourths. So that's 0.75. Right? So basically we have a 75%, not a 60% increase. So that's what made that one wrong as well. Okay, so hopefully that clears up A. Okay, so now let's move on to B. I actually could do all of it on the same slide. I didn't know I could. Okay, so let's move on to B. In B, suppose the basket of goods selected, consumer price index in 2005, basket cost $108, $135, and $168.75. Okay, so what you can do here too, because all of them start with the 100, you can really kind of use that as a proxy for how prices increase. So that's kind of what I'm going to do. So 2005, we have, I'm just going to use 108 as a proxy for CPI. In 2006, our basket costs $135, and in 2007, our basket costs $168.75. Okay, so using 2005 as the base year, the economy's inflation rate was higher in 2007 than it was in 2006. So now we actually have to go through and compute the entire CPI. So I'm just going to go ahead because they said using 2005 as a base. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So once I do that, I go 2005, 108 divided by 108 times 100 equals 100. 2006, I have 135 divided by 108 times 100, because remember it's the current year divided by the base year, and that's 125. And then 2007, I have this goofy number, 168.75 divided by 108, and that ends up being times 100, obviously, equals 1.56. Okay, or 156. Okay, so what happened, right? So the economy's inflation rate, so now we actually have to go and calculate the inflation rate, was higher in 2007 than it was in 2006. I can tell you one thing I know off the top of my head is that I would need 2008 to actually calculate the 7 inflation rate, but that's okay. We're going to go ahead and use the numbers they gave us, but that's kind of one way to just go, oh, I got it. All right, so here we have what? We have a 25% increase in prices. Here we have how much increase in price. So now we have to figure it out. So it's 156 minus 125 divided by 125. Remember, it's a percent change formula. Okay, so the 156 minus the 125 divided by the 125 is 24.8. Okay, so if we look at this, we can say, hey, 25%, 24%. No. So we're going to say no. Let me make sure I figured that out right, because I wrote all this out on paper so I wouldn't have to deal with it, but I just want to, that doesn't look right to me. Yeah, it is 24.8. Okay. So that's why that's incorrect. If 2007 is the base year, okay, then the CPI is 33.75 in 2006. Okay, well, what this would mean is that essentially that when we computed the CPI, this would be 100. That means 2006 would have to be less than 100. And then 2005 would have to be less than 2006. So if 2007 is the base year, this would have to be a negative number. And it's not. So that's not the right answer. All right. If the CPI is 156.25 in 2007, then 2005 must be the base year. We just did the base year down here. So we can look at the same work we just did. And we can go, okay, 100, 125, look, 156. So this is the right answer. And then using 2005 as a base year, the economy's inflation rate for 2006 was 27%. Okay, so here all we need to do is say, okay, this is 27%. We already know that we calculated it down here as 25%. So no, that's not right either. So the right answer must be 3. Again, what I said is that this is based upon the idea of knowing that your base year is always equal to 100. Your percent change formula for mathematics, the most recent minus the previous divided by the previous times 100 gives you that. So that was really the key to these 2 questions. So I hope that helps out. And if not, email me, let me know. Thanks.